So I'm here with my uncle, Mark Seaver Jr. I'll start out with question number one. So what do you do for a living?
All right. I'm an attorney in private practice at a firm that's headquartered in New Jersey with offices in Pennsylvania, New York, and Delaware. And I'm a corporate attorney that specializes in intellectual property law.
Sounds interesting. How did you get into your line of work?
I started in environmental litigation because it was the firm I joined. That was the position they had open. The firm I wanted to join, that was the position they had open. And then I begged people to let me do the type of stuff I wanted to do, and eventually they did. So it took a few years to do that.
When you were a young child, what did you aspire to be when you grew up?
I'm not sure I'm not sure I thought what I was going to be. I thought about becoming my father was an engineer, your grandfather was an engineer, so I thought about doing that. And actually that was my original major in college, but I found out that I got to Calc 3 and realized that I'm not a math person. Um, so I started focusing on some of the other stuff, and I just enjoyed the logic and thought process of the law. So that's what got me into that.
When did you first know that you wanted to pursue law in college?
Probably, yeah. Well, probably I went to law school right out of college, so probably my junior, senior year when I made the decision not to be an engineer, I ended up getting an economics degree. I At that point I kind of knew that I wanted to look at law school. So
Well, my next question asks where you went to college, but I know that. And go
yes,
go Michigan.
I went to Michigan. I went to law school at Rutgers,
Uh,
actually.
so you said your college major didn't really your deciding of your college major didn't really affect what your like participation in law. You just switched out of it.
Well, I was originally going to do engineering, and I switched out of that to do economics. But I knew when I did that if I was getting an economics degree, I was going to need to go to grad school to get a job because it was not those were not good times to get a job. So I thought about business school, but thought I'd like better law school, and so that's how I choose law school.
That's it. Okay. What do you like about your job? What are your favorite parts?
Well, I deal with a lot of technology. We're doing the legal side of technology and technology deals, so it's all very interesting. There's all kinds of new stuff to learn all the time. Working with really smart people that are inventing stuff all the time, and it's just fun. So that part of it's great because every day you're working on something different and learning new different technologies that are coming out. So
That
that's
that,
the best part.
that sounds cool. Are there any stuff that you don't like about it?
Yeah, one of the good things, at least my job and the way I do it, because I deal with a lot of technology people, is I don't necessarily need to be in the office all the time, so that's a good thing. But the bad side of that is that you're kind of always supposed to be accessible and you're always working. So for me, it works well because there may be days that I leave early to go see my kid's baseball game, but there may be Friday nights or Saturday nights that I got to be working. So that can get a drag if you're really busy. The hours are heavy. It takes a lot of time.
Did you see my cat?
I saw your cat just jumping
she,
in on her interview. That's awesome.
she got my camera. All right.
Just like chimed in there.
Yeah, one of my questions was how does your job like affect your family relationship? Like does it interfere often with like going to see Brian and Timmy's and Aiden's stuff?
Um, well, from Diana's perspective, because in law, at least in the kind of law I do with private practice, there's confidentiality, so you can't really talk about what you do with your clients. So I can talk about stuff generally, but Diana and I don't get into a lot of the details of stuff because we're both lawyers and we're not allowed to talk about that stuff. So in a way, that's kind of good. So we're not always talking to each other, complaining about our jobs and stuff. From the kid perspective, that's one of the advantages of my job, which is I have flexibility in my schedule. So I was able to, I coached Tim in baseball for a number of years. I've coached all the kids in different sports. That's actually one of the best parts about it. So.
That's cool. So you work most of do you work would you say you work most of your hours in the office or at home?
Most are in the office, but a lot of I do a fair amount of work at home, probably more so than a lot of my colleagues, but at least 60-70% in the office. And I don't with this job I don't have to do a lot of traveling, so that's nice.
The hours that you do spend in the office, how many hours a week do you spend there?
So in private practice, like I am, generally your time you bill by the hour. That's how you bill clients. So we talk about billable hours. Um, so at for us, I generally bill between 35 and 50 hours a week. To do that, you got to spend probably 50 to 60 hours of time to get 35 to 50 billable.
Yeah.
You're going to lunch and things like that. You can't bill that. And then on top of that, if you're in private practice, you need to spend time developing business and doing that. So that's on top of it. So it's a lot of hours.
Gotcha. Do you have any favorite stories from your work life? Any cool things ever happened to you?
Actually, we have an interesting case right now. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Redskins trademark and how they're trying to tell the Redskins they got to change their name.
Yeah.
But there's a case that procedurally is a little ahead of that one, that's on a very similar issue, and we are in that case, and we've got the trademark office, which is what's deciding the Redskins case. We've got their statute overturned on constitutionality grounds, and it's going to go to the Supreme Court. So we're going to have a Supreme Court argument probably sometime next year, and if we win, and we're hoping we should win, then it's likely that they're not going to be able to stop people from using trademarks like the Redskins. It's actually going to help the Redskins case. So that's actually a pretty interesting thing that we're working on. I haven't been up to a Supreme Court argument yet, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah. So most of your cases I assume, wouldn't go all the way up to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, very, very few cases ever go to the Supreme Court. And I would not argue that case. It's actually some people that work for me would be arguing that case. But that's a very rare. There's certain firms that have Supreme Court practices where they do that kind of stuff, large national firms. But other than that, if you have a very unique practice, most people it's a once in a lifetime type of deal. So we have one of those going on right now, which is pretty interesting. So.
Cool. Next question is, if you could do your whole process over again, college, your whole career path, would you do anything differently, or would you do what you do now?
Yeah, I did. You all right on that? I don't know what that beep was, but
Chinese food.
Okay, I could use some Chinese food. I worked really hard in law school and got really good grades. I did not. It took me kind of through college to get to that point. I probably, if I had to do it over again, would have worked a little harder from the get-go out of college. And if I could ever have stuck in engineering, it would have been great to go to law school with an engineering degree, because then I would have pursued some patent. You need that background to be a patent prosecutor, and while I don't like patent prosecution, it would have been helpful to have that on my resume. So those are the two things I probably would have changed if I had to do it over again.
That's cool. Did you ever have? I know you said Pops was an engineer, but was he kind of like a mentor or an inspiration to you to pursue engineering?
He was for engineering. He was not I don't know that he was a big fan of me becoming an economics major, but I think when I went to law school and he saw what that was about, I think he realized that for me, law school is all about a way of thinking, and I think for me that worked really well, and I think he saw that. So I think now he's happy about that. Actually, your great grandfather was an attorney, and that was probably my mother's father was an attorney, and he was probably the inspiration to go to law school.
Cool. Diana's or
no, you're my mom's. So Grammy's father.
Okay, gotcha.
Wasn't it?
Did you ever apply when you were in high school? Did you ever apply for like an internship anywhere?
I didn't. Yes, I didn't do that then, but I did do a internship in college at a law firm for a couple years at a small firm in Ann Arbor, and that was great. So, and then obviously once I got into law school, I did various internships and stuff like that. I interned for a judge, I interned for a firm, and did that. But I started that in college.
I actually they have this thing at Marist called Marist internships, where a bunch of like Marist alumni will host people like in their businesses for internships. And I applied for this one there's some law firm that I applied to be an intern for in the summer, and I find out if I get it in spring break, which is in a couple weeks.
Well, if you need any help with that, let me know. And if you hear, let me know. I will tell you that in terms of doing internships, especially because it's always it gets tougher and tougher to get jobs and do all of it. They're great for two things. One, they actually get you a little sense of what it's like to be a lawyer, but more importantly, you develop contacts and relationships with people. So that it's the contacts and the relationships that are totally important for you, because those are the people that can help you get jobs later on, or help you get clients, or help you switch jobs. So I would do every bit of that you can. The more you do, the more you're going to understand it, and the more people are going to want to hire you.
Yeah, that's what my dad kept saying about it. He was
Yep.
he was encouraging me to do it.
The more people you can meet and stay in touch with, the better off you are. That's the number one lesson I'd tell anybody. Not even in the law, anywhere, on anything you do.
Last question: do you have any recommendations for me or someone looking to enter the field of law?
Um, yeah, actually, the recommendation would be to do internships and talk to. You're doing it, so try to do internships and try to talk to people who are lawyers. I think a lot of people say they want to go into law because they watch it on TV and it's nothing like it is on TV, or they think they're going to make a lot of money. It's a tough profession. It requires a lot of work, and some of the toughest stuff is developing clients and all that kind of stuff. So there's a sales element. It's not for everybody, but if it's for you, it could be really good. And like I said, I got flexibility in my schedule and things like that, which is great, but it's a lot of time. So I would talk to different people. There's lots of different kinds of lawyers. There are litigators who go into court. There are people like me that are business lawyers that do deals. There are people that work for companies that are in-house. There are people that work for the government and are lawyers there. Talk to all of them and get a sense of what you think you might want, and you'll get more opportunities in college to do it too. So I would keep doing it there.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Had some great answers.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they I didn't even make up them all. They're actually all true. So that's
All
that's
right.
good.
Well, thank you, Mr. All. That was my interview with my Uncle Mark.